Everybody, my name is Nicole. I'm here at the University of Bern, the Center for Development and Environment. And as Andri has said, we are managing here Vocat, the World Overview of Conservation Approaches and Technologies. I have some problems. Here we go. It's maybe a bit slow. So just a few words about Vocat. Vocat is a global network of people and experts coming together to work on the topic of sustainable land management. You can see here we are several partners. That's important to say. And we are funded by Switzerland and Germany mainly. What does Vocat do? What are its four main pillars? So as I said, we are a network of people where everybody who is interested in the topic of sustainable land management can join and be part of it. So it's an open and global network. Then we have a database where all the data is stored. And I will talk about that later a bit more. Vocat is engaged in building capacities on sustainable land management at different levels. And we work with different partners to harmonize tools and methods in sustainable land management. As a global network, I will not spend too much time in that, but important to say that it's individuals that are joining the network and it's organizations. So basically, we welcome everybody to join this endeavor. And as I said, we have a global team that is managing and a secretariat that is supporting. And I will talk a bit more about also activities at the regional level. So if we look at what are our collaborations at national and regional level, so this can be, for instance, ministries of agriculture, ministries of environment, national agriculture research organizations, NGOs, CSOs, universities, the private sector, and in general, all interested partners can become what we call organizational members of Vocat if it's an organization that is joining, or also individual members of the network. And if we look at Africa, so at the moment we are in the process of developing a cluster for sub-Saharan Africa. And just to show you here some of the partners we work with already in the region. And one of the consortium partners of Vocat is SIAT, the Alliance with Biodiversity, with their office in Nairobi. So the Sub-Saharan Africa activities will also be supported by our colleagues from SIAT in Nairobi. Yeah, I think the core or centerpiece of Vocat is really, the heart of it is really this database. And what does it mean, a database? So it's an open access database with concrete field-tested sustainable land management technologies that people went to document with a standardized questionnaire. And you can see here on the left side this map. So basically, we have visitors to the database from every single country of the world. And what does it help you to do? It helps you to look for relevant sustainable land management solutions. And it should encourage people to enter and share their good practices so we can all learn from each other. One thing that works in another place might also work. One thing that works in one place might also work in another place if we tailor it to the local context. So this is the idea of the database, that we all share and enhance our knowledge. And you can see here also the logo of the UNCCD, the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, which is our partner. And the Vocat database is recommended by the convention also, so that nations or countries share their valuable knowledge with the convention through Vocat. And you can see we have around 2,000 or more than 2,000 good practices in this database. from over 130 countries at the moment. And quite some visits from different people around the world. That's the link, and we can share, I think, Andri, then the presentation so people can easily access the database. How is this documentation being done, and how could you also become engaged in this process? So I wanted to show here a bit how we are promoting the participatory documentation of good SLM practices. And I'm showing here a concrete example from Uganda, and we have Joy here also in the webinar participating, Joy from Uganda Land Care Network. They are our long-term partner in the region, and we were just finalizing this year, a joint project supported by IFAD, where we did exactly what I'm going to show you now. So ULN did the participatory identification of farmers with climate resilient or who have climate resilient SLM practices. Together with Extension, they went and documented and assessed those practices during a farm visit with the farmer using the existing standardized Vocat questionnaires. And then they were adding the data into the global database. So that was a process of several months focused on northern Uganda, and ULN with NARO and Extension documented over 60 good practices. And important to highlight that this process is also always a learning exercise for everybody involved. You can see here in July, the collection of good practices was launched by the Minister of Agriculture during the UFAS National Extension e-Symposium. So you can see here the minister signing and launching the nice collection done by Uganda Land Care Network. So where can you access this information now? So on one hand, Uganda Land Care Network has a hard copy which it distributed, and they also made some lighter folders with specific practices that are relevant for specific areas. Then there is a website, so countries that are interested, they have their own Vocat website. So you can see here ugacat.ug, and then there is the global database, and it's the same type of, the same knowledge of good practices that is included at the national level and at the global level. So these systems also speak with each other. And then what we promote is also that beyond the country, the information is shared. So you can see here, for instance, the good practices from northern Uganda are also available on the UNCCD portal. So other countries can also benefit through the UNCCD process. So it's always the same information shared with Extension and farmers, shared at the national level with policy, with SLM experts, and shared also globally with everybody who would like to learn more about this country and what people are doing there. How does it look like, this information? So when you visit the database, you will see you can look at the different good practices. And there is what we call a summary, which you can automatically generate by clicking on a button. This summary is available in different languages, and it's used to different summaries together. They make up these good practices compilations. And what you see on this summary is basically the name of the technology, the location, what description, what it is about. Then you can learn about technical specifications. There is a technical drawing, how to do this technology, the costs that are involved. Somebody's listening to nice music, I hear. Maybe we can mute. Mama. Great. Then we can see where this technology is implemented. And we can learn about what are the impacts or the benefits for farmers, for instance, in terms of income, but also climate benefits of this technology. So this is all automatically generated by clicking on a button in the database. You can see it below there where it says print summary. So you can print the summary as a PDF or open it in the browser. And that is done by the database, so you don't have to do anything yourself. So what do countries do then? As I said, they are producing these good practices, compilations. I on purpose put here some examples also from Asia, so we can see here then the books that and material for extension and farmers that was produced in Khmer language, also with that information and data that was shared through the database. And then there is other products generated with that same information. So there are videos produced, as Access Agriculture was mentioning. Some of them are even included in their portal. And then there is radio programs or calendars, whatever is needed to further promote sustainable land management is produced by always using the same set of information, the pictures, the technical drawing, the information on costs and benefits. We thought to show you some concrete examples from Africa. So this one is now from North Africa, from Tunisia. You can see here, so they have their good practices collection. An example is conservation agriculture. In green, you can see the technology, and in orange, that's the approach. And the approach means how did people come together to implement, and how was the implementation facilitated through different processes, through a project, through bringing people together in a cooperative, for instance, through, So we combine the technology and how people are coming together and implement. That's the approach. And you can see, so then Tunisia has its own collection of good practices, but then all these same practices are available there on the global database if you search for Tunisia. Or another example from Ethiopia, there is a book that you can find on our website. And again, it's the same technologies and approaches that are also included in the database. If we look at Africa as a whole, here is you can see from which countries we have good practices documented. And on the right-hand side, you can see, again, the countries and some of the government bodies, UN partners, universities, research institutes, and NGOs, CSOs that are involved in the documentation process. So that's what's done in the countries and through partners' work, and what basically partners mainly produce as their own projects using the Vocat system. And then also, as Rima shared in the chat before, there are also the global products produced by Vocat, mainly by the global team. And you can see some of those publications where data is then further analyzed. And yes, so and then these good practices and this knowledge is shared at different events also globally. Then capacity building is another main pillar of Vocat. So at the local level, I wanted to show here again the work from Uganda Land Care Network and Joy's team in Uganda, supporting farmers to make farm decisions using SLM evidence. So after they had compiled all these good practices, we have a small methodology to implement decision support workshops at the local level. These are multi-stakeholder workshops where different actors as well as different social groups such as women, youth are included to make a selection which practices to implement based on different criteria that they are setting in a participatory way. So at the end in Uganda, in the project with IFAD, we had 12 technologies that were selected by people, and we had over 350 participants doing this participatory selection. So that's really farmers and extension staff. And those technologies were implemented in demonstration sites. And you can find all this information here on the Vocat website. And Joy, please feel free to come in if you are still here. I wanted to show also the work you are currently involved in quickly on the launching an in-service sustainable land management curriculum together with an agricultural college and the Ministry of Agriculture, NARO, UFAS, and other actors to really equip extensionists with new evidence and new knowledge, focusing also on the challenges posed by climate change and strategies to ensure food security and increase income through sustainable land management. So maybe I finish the presentation, Joy, and then once I am done, you come in and can for sure better answer people's questions that I can do. Here you can see some details of the course. I think in the sake of time, I will skip that. And just as to show you also, so this was more what Vocat is supporting and the methodologies Vocat is providing for the local level with farmers and extensionists. And at the national level, we also have a framework developed and a tool which can be used if it is about mainstreaming sustainable land management in different decision-making processes at the community, district, or national level. And this mainstreaming exercise helps really the implementation or the identification where there are opportunities to bring sustainable land management to scale. And we have several countries with whom we are doing or where Vocat is simply supporting this exercise. So Vocat is providing the methodology and helping people to apply it in their own context. You can see here some impressions. One is from Morocco, where we developed, or where the Ministry of Agriculture developed the land degradation and sustainable land management map, and then in a territorial planning process, the SLM interventions were planned based on the hotspots of land degradation. And on the right-hand side, another example from Colombia. So some of our key tools, I will not go into that. I just wanted to highlight that as Vocat is working on the harmonization of tools and is working with a lot of partners to really make the life of people easier in using different tools. So you can see here a whole list of different tools to which basically the Vocat database and Vocat is linking to. And these are around land use planning, land degradation neutrality, about carbon benefits. So there is a lot of different tools out there with whom we are collaborating. And just one I wanted to show you today, and we were discussing with Andri and AFAS this tool before. So that's a new mobile application for farmers and extension. It's called Farm Better. You can see here the website. You can currently download this application on your phone, but it's a beta version. And you can see it's basically a virtual agent that is talking with the farmer, asking about the problems the farmer have and the challenges addressed, also particularly focusing on climate change. And then eventually there is a matching algorithm in the background, and the application is presenting different concrete sustainable land management solutions to the farmer or to the extension agents. And at the moment we are together with Farm Better, that's a private company, a social enterprise with whom we are collaborating to further develop this, and we will do some testing and working with farmers and extension in Tanzania, Uganda, and Burkina Faso to further tailor the tool to the country needs, the user's needs, and make it also a gender-sensitive application. So you are welcome to download it for the moment, but it's work in progress. And I think something we could also discuss with the group here, if some people are interested in this application, to also involve you in the further development of this tool. With that, I would like to thank you. You can see here the website, and please, link up with us on Facebook so we can be in touch. And I will give back the word to Andri, and then maybe also my colleagues, Rima and also Joy from Uganda Landcare Network can come in here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicole. I think at this time, our ED, Dr. Selim, has joined. Seems there was a connection challenge, so maybe we'll give maybe our ED wants to say some words first before we go into the Q&A session, which will be managed by Dr. Samsung after. So, yes, Dr. Selim, some words from you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, the internet has been on off, so it's a bit of a problem. But anyway, I think it's sort of stable now. So my apologies. Yeah, thank you very much, Nicole, Andre, and everybody else. I think this is a very exciting time, especially with this partnership with Vocat. And as we all know, of the program, the project we are implementing, especially with the four partners, that is Para, Korab, Sereka, and Kadesa. Its main focus is on climate issues and sustainability of natural resources, which you ably stated, and of course, certainly the input and the partnerships that we have signed. I think it is extremely useful into accelerating the knowledge base of our stakeholders and partners. And it's good that you presented before I talked. Of course, I've seen a very rich knowledge base on technologies, innovations, and so on, and practices, very practical practices, which are already in the database and being implemented. So I certainly welcome this partnership and its translation into very practical use for our stakeholders. So let me therefore welcome all of you. So it's a bit late, but let me welcome you, and I wish that this meeting proceeds with the interest that is generating for all the participants. So Nicole, thanks a lot, and all the organizers. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Edie. So may I now call Samsung to facilitate the Q&A session. Now at this time, participants, you can send your question through the chat box, or you just raise your hand and then unmute yourself to ask your question. I see that Samsung has again disappeared. He has some internet challenge, so I will handle it while waiting for him. So any question from the participants here, from the audience? Please just write in the chat box or raise your hand. Maybe I'll start with myself. A question about the course. It went very quickly, so I couldn't see exactly how does it work? Is it an online course? Is it a face-to-face? How does it work? That's my question for now.
Let's
And
hand
then
over to Joy Andri so she can explain a bit more. She is here.
Yes, Joy.
Yes, this is Joy. First and foremost, I'm very, very happy to be part of this meeting. I also want to thank the people who have organized it, but more especially my colleague, Nicole, with whom we have been working together, really backstopping us and making sure that we are on course. We've been working closely with Vocat to document SLM practices. I should give a background that we are looking at not just documentation and having a library, but how this information is used. We are very much aware that scaling SLM is very, very important. Certainly, Uganda government has prioritized it because it is very important in terms of security, in terms of addressing climate change, in terms of having a healthy environment. So government of Uganda has put a very high flag on how this can be scaled. And we see SLM as a knowledge intensive process. So our interest as we work with the Vocat is to see how this information can be used so that we have more adoption. And in our documentation, we've been looking at capacity building of extension because extension is very, very critical in ensuring that information is used involving backstopping and working with farmers or to implement best practices. So we came up with a very innovative way of addressing this. First and foremost, to have an MOU with the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Uganda. This is one of the key ministries. We have an ongoing MOU towards capacity building of extension. And that provided a very good inroad to working with the communities, both at national level and also at grassroots. So we've been working under this MOU and we continue to work. We have this database. It is hosted by, again, government. ULN is a non-government organization, but I've told people that it is a unique non-government organization because we prioritize working with government. We have strong allies with government. So this database is actually hosted by a national research organization, and NARO. And of course, we were very excited. In the middle of documentation, NARO took it up and they began to actually document beyond the project site, which was very, very good. And we are looking forward to even having a big, robust database. I move very fast to the curriculum. So upon having this wealth of information, we're looking at how we continuously train or capacity build extension. So we teamed again with another government of Uganda training institution, the oldest institution in agricultural training, Bukarasa. So we developed this curriculum mainly to train extension so that they can backstop scaling sustainable land management. We developed this curriculum for a physical 1 week training with farmers. Unfortunately, or fortunately, COVID came in. Now, when we launched it, there was excitement. Look here, we need this course. We need this course badly. So the issue was, how do we now make sure that it is online? So we are now moving very fast. We are again still working with Vocat and many other people who are coming on board, including government, to see how we can launch this online training, because really COVID has brought in the issue of virtual training. So it's a 1 week physical training, but we are looking at how do we get this online. We haven't launched it, but we are in the middle of getting everything ready. I hope I've answered your question.